Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. It's Leo speaking. Today I have the pleasure to show you GlitchCore from Alexander Matheu. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Additionally, if you would like to participate in the giveaway, please do check the instruction in the video description. Thank you again. So I'm inside the AUM. And I have an audio channel. In that audio channel, I have a file player, which is playing this file, which is a pre-generated waveform through another application. And then I have loaded up a GlitchCore here, as you can see, as an insert effect. As you can see, it's AUV3 compliant. So what is GlitchCore? Well, it allows you to take the audio input and then to take small samples, micro samples of those input, that audio input, and then to play that repeatedly at different speeds, length, etc. Hence the name glitch, to create that GlitchCore effect. Of course, you can also use it for scrubbing as well. When you load it, you can see here on the top left side, you have a playhead which keeps moving from left to right, and that represents the internal buffer which is being played, which is, of course, always recorded from the audio input coming from AUM in this case, but of course can also be frozen. So let me show you starting the transport control inside AUM. As you can see, a waveform is recorded, and now it is disappearing because it is continuously moving in recording mode. But of course, I can freeze the internal buffer clicking in here, this icon. Okay, so let me show you. Now, I stopped AUM playing, but I have frozen the input inside the internal buffer. And as you can see, now you have this waveform, which is represented and is staying there. So I stopped the recording of the audio input. You don't hear any audio, and that's because I don't have any modes which are active. And the modes are selectable up here, and the first one is a looping mode. The second one is a sequencer, glitch, reverse. Okay, and then we have freezing mode, of course, and settings. The interface is quite simple, as you can see, but quite effective. So let's start with the loop mode. As you can see, it is playing the loop, and the loop is defined by these orange bars, which you can see overlapping the waveform. So you can change the beginning of that loop, the end of that loop, of course, clicking, dragging, and drop the vertical bars, the corresponding vertical bars. And of course, if you click here on this horizontal bar, you can actually move the entire loop. And that's quite nice because it allows you to create that scrubbing effect, which of course, it's a plus. You can, of course, make the loop smaller. And, of course, it will finish the playing faster. And again, it depends if that is the effect that you are after. At the bottom here, you see an XY pad. So if you click and hold, so horizontally, you move where you want the waveform to be played. So if I press here, we'll play around this part of the waveform. If I press down here, this part of the waveform. And then you move vertically to change the length. So it's changing the length of what is being played and therefore the corresponding speed. When you use the XY pad in this mode, you see this icon here, which is the glitch mode, which appears, gets activated. But when I let go, it deactivates. Of course, you can have it in permanent mode, just click in here. And when you do so, you don't need to hold your mouse cursor or your finger on the screen. Okay. There is an internal rule for the different modes. Some are overlapping others. So, for example, if I'm in loop mode and I use the momentary glitch, I can override the looping mode. Okay. This mode here is called reverse. So if I click on it, it's playing reverse. Again, if I use the XY pad, you can see the XY pad again in momentary fashion overlaps the reverse. If I have looping mode and activate reverse, you can see that the reverse is overriding the looping mode. Okay. Next, what we have is a sequencer, which you activate with this button here. And what it does, it plays a number of patterns up to 8, which you can select up here from 1 to 8, and you have different steps, okay? And then you have different controls at the bottom. There are different settings here which you can choose, which will also change the behavior in which the patterns are actually played, which are in this section here. For example, you can activate to trigger the next pattern or to mutate the next pattern. And you can do that after you play 1 measure or 2 or 3 or 4. So at the moment, we leave it there as standard configuration. Now, as I said, you move from one pattern to the next, okay? Let me show you how it works. So click here on this button here with the X, and you will clean up that pattern. So you can see if I go to pattern 2, I still have the pattern 1, and now it's cleared. Now let me click here on this step here at the bottom, and now activate the sequencer. So it's playing this part here, okay, of the waveform. If I click up here, is playing this part of the waveform. So vertically, you change the position where you are on the form. And of course, as you move horizontally here on the pattern, you create a different step, which are played one after the next. Okay, so if I was doing something like this, I'm moving between this part to this part quickly, right? And hence why, when you go to pattern 2, which is a line, which is an ascending line, it practically moves from one step to the next, and is moving correspondingly from the bottom to the right, and therefore moving from the beginning to the end of the waveform, which in this case is still recording in the buffer because it is frozen. Now, you can randomize the pattern, clicking on this icon here at the bottom. You can click on play, and when it is activated, is moving to the next pattern. Of course, at the moment, pattern 2, 3, 4 are the same because that is how they look when you first load GlitchCore, but of course you can change them. Now, you can move the pattern up, down, left, right, okay, and additionally, if I was to delete this one and go back to pattern number 1, I can click on this one and copy, and then go to the second pattern and paste. So you can do copy and paste. Now let's go back to the first pattern, and let's click and hold the random button. I have play mode active, and let me show you what happened. So it's playing the pattern, moving to the next one, but also mutating the pattern as well. Again, go back to the settings here. You can see it is activated, trigger next pattern, mutate the next pattern, but every 1 bar. But you can have it to play 2 bars before it goes to the next pattern and before mutating, of course, if it is on and off. You have additional option here. You can snap the loop to grid, so it allows you to better position the loop. You can change the resolution of the waveform, this waveform here, which helps with rendering if you have any issue. You can enable eco render mode if you, depending on your device, you can change your glitch step, 3, 64, 30 seconds, 16th resolution on your XY pad. The pattern modes, we have already seen them. And then down here, you have micro fading, which allows you to remove artifacts. So for example, when you are in glitch mode, let's say I put this down to 0, okay. You can change the fading, so in glitch mode, and increase them, and include in transition, of course, or when you are in sequencer, or when you are in a loop. And you can hear that the sound is moved. And what happens is that it moves between the amplitude at the end of a sample and the amplitude at the beginning of the next sample being played. And therefore, it does that micro fading, which helps to remove some of the artifacts. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. It's a fantastic app developed by Alexander Matheu. Thank you very much.